does it usually go? Like
That's a good way. Just sort of your name and.
I'm going to be talking about the video. Well, people obviously know. Okay, this is Beck Hansen, and this is a video called Dead Weight, directed by Michel Gondry. Having directed videos on my own, when you're left with that just blank slate of.
Okay. Sorry about that.
You can call back later.
Yeah.
When you're left with all the options and all the technology and all the possibilities of what a video could be.
When you see something like Michel's video, you think, God, if only I could have my song be a soundtrack to something that's that entertaining, or that's that challenging, or that's that satisfying. So after seeing a few of Michel's videos, you think, God, man, who is this person and how can I get in touch with them?
He sent over a film that he made of himself walking with his shoes walking in front of him. What he had done is he tied fishing wire from the sock to the shoe and walked backwards and then ran the film the other way.
If you are cynical towards the subject you shoot, you make the audience feel superior. And if you are too condescending, you make the audience feel inferior. So always try to avoid to glorify the artist in a way that makes you feel the audience on a different level.
It's nice to be able to trust someone so much to hand them over your creation, to hand over what we've been working on for years and say, here, do what you want with us.
Me and Michel both had kind of hippie parents, especially hippie moms. They were a bit sort of not very organized. And we would have to be these kind of young kids that were sensible and would stop our mothers to paint butterflies over all the walls and pull them down and sort of insist that maybe we should have porridge or something.
T'as une vidéo préférée dans les vidéos que j'ai faites? Ou dans les films, ou les trucs que j'ai faits?
Moi, j'ai mis Daft Punk.
Daft Punk?
Oui.
Avec la chorégraphie, la danse?
Oui.
Uh-huh. When I start a video, I always try to go in an area that I feel unsafe, to kind of force myself and prove myself I can do it. And the dance and choreography was really this. I never done that, and most of the video I would see with choreography were really boring and very conventional and all about energy and close-up. As to me, choreography has to be about architecture and about wide shot and its geometrical pattern. So I started to think of a choreography, and I separated each instrument as a different track, and I analyzed each one. And so you have the bass line was played by athletic guys, keyboard was played by disco girl, the guitar by skeleton, and the vocoder by robots.
It's all part of a certain world that Michel has in his head, where you can take a lot of elements from different videos he's done and see that it all comes together in a very little world of his own. It's very naive, and at the same time it's very complex.
I think that what's funny is that, especially in this video, we could have thought of a better idea than what he did. It's like it totally matches the music. It was a total harmony when we saw it.
The mummies do a geometrical pattern with the beat, and the guitar, they kind of go into a square, and the robots, they go into circle, and they represent around the world, basically. They go around, all around.
I think out of the work I've done, videos, the work I did with Michel was probably one of the most sort of collaborational.
I remember my producer was like, no, you don't have enough money. You cannot beg to do videos like that. And I went in his office and I rolled on his floor to beg him to accept to do the video. Because I thought if I would not do the video, I would never see Bjork again. So it was my only way I could meet her again. It was to make sure I would do her video.
What happened when you rolled around on the floor?
He said, okay, I will do it. I think she had seen some video I did for my band, for Wee Wee, and she was interested into meeting with me, and we met into this restaurant, and we started to talk about things we like.
We completely bonded in 1 minute when I told them that I wanted the video to be dark and hairy and fluffy, and it wasn't about humans, it was about animals that should win. And after that, everything went really well.
She was the first one to have interest into the early work I've done, and she made me come back to that and make me believe in myself and be myself. And she really helped me with that, and always saying, trust your instinct, and pushing me in a direction to make me better. When you do several videos with the same artist, it seems that it would be easier because you have more trust, or it's a relationship that works well. But it's kind of hard in a way that you really can't afford to go less good.
I guess that it's about someone in a relationship who has a very happy relationship but builds up all these kind of, like her, I guess it would be called her demons. So she makes sure when she is not with the person she loves, she gets rid of the demons so she can come back in the relationship and to make sure she doesn't destroy anything.
Well, the idea was that she was dead but her soul was still alive, and we did all in one piece of film and with the motion control, and we rewinded 14 times the same piece of film to superimpose all the takes.
So in the lyrics she's obviously thrown herself off the cliff. Basically it will be from a point of view of a dead person who had jumped off already and died. I explained to Michel that there's a sort of a trilogy of videos that are actually very much just sort of about my childhood, which is human behavior, about the little girl that walks around and finds everything a bit odd. And then it's Isabel, which is sort of the story of when a girl becomes a woman, and very, very poetic and very romantic and very, I hate to say the word, but sort of erotic. Then it's Bachelorette, the third one. It was basically the saga of Isabel continues, and she goes on the train and confronts all her lovers with love. It'd be curious when we work next together how we are going to handle the modern age without forests and beasts and and hairy things.
Saw the Bjork video, and I was like, God, who directed that? I really want to work with that person. And I told my agents and my manager, which I don't really do about people, and they were like, we don't know who that is. We don't know what you're talking about. But then I got a phone call about this Rolling Stones video, and they sent me his reel, and I was like, that's the guy I want to work with. Okay, I got to go to Europe. I got to go do this. And of course I love the Rolling Stones.
I was not like a big fan of the Stones. I mean, stupidly, you always do the comparison. I was more like the Beatles type. But actually, when I met them, I was amazed how they had kept this juvenileness of adolescent guys playing.
He kind of created this concept in his mind about shooting things with stills and then morphing them together with the computer. And as far as I know, he invented that with his brother. Of course, they use that then in The Matrix, and every really big, young new director who came from the School of Video just loves Michel, and they really are, sort of rip him off liberally.
Another guy actually was doing this effect in a different way, in the same time. I think he blamed me for copying him, but it's so as well. After, I cannot blame other people to copy me because you never know who got the idea. I think the idea are in the air and you capture it, so different people can capture it in the same time.
How did you guys first come across Michel?
We were going to do a video of Fell in Love with a Girl, and I said, they said, who do you like? And I said, no, I like whoever did that Beck's Devil's Haircut video. I said, and they called Michel, and then the guy at the record label said, oh yeah, he's the guy who did that video, when she wasn't. And but then he had done this other Beck video that I really liked as well, and then I heard about the other ones he had done around the world, and so I was like, yeah, great, let's talk to him. Half of it was he digitized what he'd filmed of us into square pixels and turned the pixels into Lego blocks. And then the other half of the video was stop frame animation, using real Lego blocks and building versions of us playing our instruments. So it was sort of half and half. It blended really well together because you can't really tell what's what most of the time. It was sort of an idea that just couldn't go wrong, I think.
Yeah, I shot them first on video with a mini DV camera. And I didn't want to be narrative, I really wanted to make like a collage video just because the process was so complex after that I couldn't add too many layers. So what we had to do is we first shot on video, then we printed with a pixelation effect each layer, which was 24 per second. We had 15 animators that would build a wall of Lego, basically the size of this sheet of paper, and we'll put that in front of the camera and shoot it. So that took like more than 2 months to do.
He was just filming us with a little camera, and we were just running around and running up and down stairs and things like that, and that was so fun and simple. It just had us running around and running on treadmills and running up and down stairs. It was so quick and easy. We're like, that's all we have to do, because everything else was sort of a post-production video. That was the idea. It was way better than Meg's idea of us being made out of Oreo cookies.
I don't know. I
think
it could have worked. You know, I really did.
What do you think?
It was just several different setups over and over again. It was really cool the way they sort of left the cameras running and just sort of removed equipment. They had a lot of guys on hand to pull everything away and set everything up. And so we would play a few seconds of the song, and then we'd stop and they'd pull a drum kit and an amplifier away, then we'd move back and we'd play a few seconds. So it went pretty fast. It's just so many different parts of the song, and you know, Michel had his chart with little triangles and circles and squares on it, and he knew exactly what part of the song was supposed to be what and how many amplifiers should be there. And when you watch the video, you have to watch it a lot of times before you can really figure out the mathematics of what's happening.
It was very simple, basically. You have the pattern of the drum that goes like that, and the guitar goes like that. All your life you think, oh, I wish I could have a drum kit, and then suddenly you realize in the scheme of the price of a video you can buy 32 drum kit, and it's not really a major expense. And it's just great what you can think of doing with 32 drum kit. I wanted to start to shoot on video, but I was afraid because I always thought it looked ugly. And then I remember stuff like the Benny Hill, when they would shoot indoors on video, and outdoor they would shoot on 16mm camera. So I had decided to shoot half the video on film and half of video, and do invisible transition.
I was imagining it more as kind of the video effects and, you know, like trails and traces and stuff. And he came up with the idea that the effects would be real, you know, and like instead of having a trace of having a video, like a cheesy 80s kind of video effect, it would actually be reality doing the effect.
I thought it would be nice to have people actually miming effect as a choreography. I'm very precise, and sometimes people think, yeah, he thinks he's Orson Welles and it's just a piece of crap. And because when I go to the set, I really know exactly what I want. I will explain to the guy what to do before I can explain them what I need.
And just I remember when it came through the post and I sat down and watched it, just immediately having to watch it again and again, just trying to understand, you know, how it was made.
I still don't really understand it, I have to say. I can't.
What are we doing here today?
He asked him to us to each time he hit, he said, ha, hi.
Okay. Attends, pousse-toi un peu.
Michel's a great drummer.
Quite a lot of people who end up doing music videos, if you ask them just enough questions, they'll end up admitting to you that they were drummers.
I started playing drums when I was, I would say 14. I was very shy and I thought I would never be bold enough to have a date with a girl. And I thought if I would play a very masculine instrument, it would help me through this process. And it was a total failure. Basically, I never ever had a date because I was drumming. There is 3 types of girlfriend. First type would never let you fart. Would really get upset if you do. Second type would not mind so much. And the third type, my favorite, is the one that really actually enjoy if you fart. Only problem is they fart back at you. One time I was with the first type in a bed, trying to find a strategy to discreetly squeeze wind as she was sleeping. I let this poisonous one out, hoping she would not notice. She was deeply asleep, and I noticed she's having a horrible nightmare. I had to wake her up. She's crying and laughing in the same time. But a lot of time I have a dream, and in my dream I'm thinking, oh, I wish it was my idea. It's so great. One time I was dreaming that Spike was directing this piece, and he was, I remember clearly, it was a pinball table with an egg moving on its own. And I'm like, wow, that's so great. I'm so jealous he had this idea. I wish I had this idea. It's the best animated piece. I'm like, wait a second. I'm not awake. This is my dream. So therefore, this is my idea. So I own it. Whether it's Spike shooting it or not, it's Spike is part of my dream. So I'm directing. So I wake up really excited. I'm like, wow, that's great. I will do it. I had a great idea. And just I realized, wait a second. This idea was stupid. It's just an egg rolling on a pinball table. And I'm totally disappointed.
Everybody thinks it's the best video we've ever made. That's the deal. We've made a lot of videos, and that's the one that everybody thinks is the best. To this day, that was 1997. Yeah, everybody just thinks it's the best one we've ever done. And you know, to this day, we've tried to make videos that can top that one, and I don't think we'll ever do it unless we make another video with Michel. I think that's the only way you can do it. You can't beat them, join them.
Because I'm French and I don't really understand every word of the song, and especially when I listen to the track, I don't really get most of the lyrics. I catch maybe 10% of the lyrics, and then I recreate all the bridge between each word with my own universe and my own story. The funny thing with Dave Grohl was that he thought my story was closer to what he had in mind than his lyrics themselves.
Well, actually, the large hand thing was kind of funny because he explained to me that when he was young, he had these nightmares where his hands would grow to incredible size, and he'd wake up screaming, and his mother would have to come in his room and massage his hands. So, I mean, it seemed completely inane, and it didn't seem like it made any sense, but then after he explained that to me, I thought, God, wow, maybe he's actually emotionally invested into the video so much that all of this represents something that he hasn't even explained to the band, much less anyone else, you know. Maybe every one of his videos is some crazy nightmare or some phobia or something inside of him that he's afraid to tell anybody, and he just makes videos. He puts it into film. Because something as like vulnerable as that, like a traumatic childhood experience, that then you almost parody in a rock video. What the f*** is that all about, you know? It's a head trip.
For me, it was almost, the whole thing was almost like a weird ritual.
I guess I just remember when we were doing it, it felt amazing.
The child inside of him is really evident, and it's really beautiful, and some people shouldn't grow up, I think.
The first time I took a camera and I started to tell a story, I realized that's what I would like to do for, not for the rest of my life, but at least for a good period of time.
There's no one that's ever done anything more beautiful or challenging or interesting to watch than he has. So, saying that, it's like, he could tell me to stick a corn cob up my ass and dance around in a hula skirt, I'd do it because I know that it would look great, you know? So, yeah.